Are we good? I want you to picture yourself 342 years ago when telescopes did not exist. You look up at the night sky, you see the stars, you see the moon, you might even see Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. You wouldn't know what stars looked like up close, and you would probably think that the moon was a perfect round sphere. Now going back in history to about 420 BC, there was a Chinese philosopher named Mozi. He recorded that concave mirrors could focus rays from the sun. And in case you didn't know, a concave mirror is a mirror that is curved inwards towards the center. About 30 years later, Aristophanes recorded that glasses of water could bend rays from the sun. I suck at this. Arab scientists discovering and examining. This is going to be a pain to edit. In the 10th to 12th century, there were several Arab scientists discovering and examining the properties of light, mirrors, and lenses. Ibn al-Haytham's Book of Optics, after being translated into Latin and transported to Europe, became the foundation of the study of light and lenses. In the late 13th century, the first spectacles were invented by Salvino de Armati. It came to be by placing two convex lenses in a wooden frame and riveted to wooden shafts so it could be worn on the face. In the 1570s, there were several reports of lenses being able to make distant things look as they are near. Now this is where things for the telescope really start to take off. Most people believe that it was Galileo Galilei who actually invented the first telescope, but it was in fact a German-Dutch spectacle maker. In 1608, Hans Lippershey applied his patent on what we know today as the telescope. This is a pretty simple telescope, as it only used two lenses, a concave eyepiece lens and a convex objective lens. He was able to beat two other Dutch scientists to this, who both tried to register their own inventions. 1 year later, a famous physicist and astronomist, Galileo Galilei, improved the original design by Hans Lippershey. He called this the perspiculum. Although Galileo Galilei wasn't the first one to invent the telescope, he was the first one to point it to the stars. His telescope worked by using a concave eyepiece and a convex objective lens, just like Hans Lippershey. He got the system down to math and mastered the formula until he reached 20 times magnification, and no one else could match that. What I really love about Galileo was that he was not afraid to challenge common or popular beliefs. When he pointed the telescope to the sky, he saw several interesting things. He noticed that the moon was not a perfect sphere and that it actually had imperfections. He saw that Venus had phases and that Jupiter had 4 moons. Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. This showed that most celestial bodies did not rotate around the Earth, rather they rotated around the Sun, which is called a heliocentric model. Galileo also saw that the Milky Way wasn't a white band of misty light, but that it was actually made up of millions of individual stars. Galileo's contemporary, Johannes Kepler, broke the magnification ceiling. Instead of a concave lens for the eyepiece, he used a convex lens. This made it so that the magnification of the convex objective lens was now multiplied by the now convex eyepiece lens. Should I redo that? But the only problem to this design was that the image was upside down. Some astronomers corrected this by adding a third convex lens, but that added some unwanted distortions. Kepler's breakthrough created a new problem, however. Since there was a bigger field of view, there was tons of room to increase magnification. One way to do this was to make the focal length of the eyepiece shorter, but this made the fringes of color around the image even worse. Another way to increase magnification was to reduce the curve of the objective lens, which resulted in less color problems. This also meant that the telescope had to be longer. In the book Seeing and Believing, How the Telescope Opened Our Eyes and Minds to the Heavens by Richard Pennock, he states that 6 to 8 feet, that was the length of a good astronomical telescope in 1645. 5 years later, it was 10 to 15 feet. 10 years after that, 25 feet. 10 years after that, 40 to 50 feet. By 1673, Johannes Hevelius had constructed a telescope 150 feet long along the shores of the Baltic Sea. One astronomer cheered the coming day when the aerial telescopes would have a focus of 1,000 feet and human spectators could marvel at the antics of the animals on the moon. They found that 30 to 40 feet was the most practical and useful length. Moving on from Galileo and Kepler's telescope, we find ourselves in the late 1600s. In 1611, a Greek mathematician, Giovanni de Messiani, coined the term telescope, with tele meaning far and scopin to look or to see. In 1668, Sir Isaac Newton made a refractor telescope. A refractor telescope is a telescope that uses a mirror rather than a lens to bend and magnify the light. The reason why it was superior to a telescope that uses only lenses is because the mirror provided no chromatic aberration to the image. If you're familiar with prisms, you can understand why the mirrors are better. Newton's telescope solved all of these problems. A mirror bounces light off it instead of a lens. And since you only need light to hit the surface of the mirror, you can support the whole mirror, making it way more stable, and this leads to less aberration. Although Newton is often credited with inventing the refractor telescope, it was actually an Italian monk, physicist, and astronomer, Niccolò Zucchi. In the 1650s, he published his own book on optics, and this inspired Newton to make the refractor telescope. Zucchi finished his own refractor in 1616, whereas Newton finished his in 1670. Although Isaac Newton wasn't the first person to invent the telescope or the refractor telescope, he was the first person to relate it to mathematics. He discovered that gravity was a two-way operation, meaning that as an apple falls to the earth, it ever so slightly pulls the earth towards itself. We know that an object that has mass also has its own gravity. This is why moons, planets, and stars all have their own gravity. The more mass an object has, the more gravity it will have. Newton further studied and carried out the work of Galileo and Copernicus by learning more about the laws that govern the universe. After Newton's refractor telescope in 1668, several scientists tried to improve on his model. Advances were small and didn't result in better magnification or ease of use. Telescopes in general ceased to improve until John Hadley presented his model of the parabolic speculum mirror to the Royal Society in 1721. A parabolic mirror is similar to a spherical mirror, but a parabolic mirror has a single focal point, whereas a spherical mirror does not. 5 years later, in 1726, Hadley managed to improve the Gregorian telescope. This was originally designed by James Gregory in the 17th century and built by Robert Hooke in 1673. In 1897, the Yerkes Observatory created the largest telescope ever with a 101.6 centimeter refractor. How to pronounce Ritchie Chrétien. In 1910, one of the most famous telescope models was created, the Ritchie Chrétien model. This telescope was similar to the Gregorian telescope, which uses two concave mirrors. The Ritchie Chrétien telescope uses hyperbolic primary and secondary mirrors. These telescopes are still in use today, and you can pick one up for the small price of $500 to $30,000. In 1970, the first telescope was sent to space on board the probe Uhuru. Alongside this, it was also the very first gamma-ray telescope. In 1990, the Hubble telescope was also sent to space and quickly became the most useful telescope on Earth. In 2009, the Kepler telescope was sent to space with the focus of locating planets orbiting our neighboring stars. On Christmas Day of 2021, the James Webb telescope was sent to space. This is the largest optical telescope in space currently and allows us to see more early and distant stars that we couldn't with the Hubble. Alright, so now we're going to be making a telescope, and we're actually going to be making the Galilean model, which uses two convex lenses. You're going to want one that's bigger and one that is a little bit smaller. Alright, so what you're going to need is your lenses, some tape, and 2 toilet paper rolls. You can use a paper towel roll and cut it in half, but it works the same. Alright, so the first step is you're going to take one of your rolls and you're just going to cut it right down the middle. So it should look like this, and it's just going to have one slit in it so that it can open up. Alright, now you're going to take your big convex lens, and most lenses on one of the sides, it sticks out a little bit more. You're going to want that facing the outside, just like that. Alright, and you're going to get a piece of tape that's about 7 to 8 inches long, just like that. You can use whatever tape you want, it doesn't really matter, just as long as it holds well. Alright, so you're going to get your lens, and you're just going to tape around the edge of it. Alright, just like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't matter, just as long as it's level. Alright, now what you're going to want to do is you're going to take the roll with the cut in it and you're going to put it into the other one, just like this. And you're going to take your smaller convex lens and you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to tape it around the edges, and you're going to want the side that sticks out a little bit more on the inside, just like that. Alright, so once you have that taped, you're going to need to decorate it, otherwise it's not going to work properly. So I have these shark and dinosaur stickers and some planet stickers. Alright, and there you have it. This is the finished telescope, and you'll notice that the image is upside down. But that's actually how Galileo's telescope was. They didn't find out how to reverse that until a couple hundred years later. Telescopes have truly taught us so much about the universe we live in, and I can't imagine what life would be without them. Thanks for watching, everyone.